Hello again, everyone, and welcome into the Josh Caray Show. I'm your host, Josh Caray. Thank you for joining us. In this week's edition of the Josh Caray Show, I speak to Trash Pandas starting right-hander Austin Gordon, who was also the opening day starter for the Trash Pandas this season. In this edition, I talked to Austin about his collegiate days at Clemson, growing up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and what he hopes to accomplish this season as a Trash Panda. Okay, so Austin, great to have you on board. I think first for the fans who are just going to tune into this, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, born and raised. Grew up at the beach, love to surf, used to love to surf, not so much anymore. Now it's more of the golf, but I went to Clemson. I'm happy to be here.
When growing up at Myrtle Beach, that's been a long time minor league affiliate for the Chicago Cubs. Yep. Did you go to a lot of games?
I did. It was the Braves for a little bit. I remember Jason Hayward and Freddie Freeman were there for about a year. Then I went to the Rangers, and my dad kind of knew the general manager when it was with the Rangers. Okay. So my first professional baseball game was the 2010 World Series that he got from the general manager of the Pelicans. So that was pretty cool. Yep.
Now, I'm sorry, I may have misheard you. Did you go to that game, the 2010 World Series?
I did. That was my first Major League
Get
baseball
out
game.
Of here.
Yep.
So did you think every game was like that afterward?
I was 7 at the time. So, that was a pretty cool experience for me. I didn't really know what to expect, but that was fun.
Okay, so growing up in South Carolina, what was your major league team? Did you have a favorite player?
It's always been the Braves.
Okay.
Always been the Braves.
Okay,
yeah.
So as a pitcher, was it, I'm probably speaking toward my age a little bit, was it Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, or was it someone a little later on?
It was a little later. I don't really remember a whole lot of, I didn't really start going to Braves games until a lot later. Mm-hmm. But it was always, Freddie Freeman, Jason Hayward, that group.
Okay. So as you were starting to become a sports fan, was baseball always your thing?
It was always baseball.
Okay.
Always baseball. I played some other sports. Never played another sport in high school. I played football for a year. I played soccer growing up, but it was always baseball for me.
What type of kid were you? Were you always a jock? Were you kind of a nerd? Were you the quiet kid? What type of guy were you?
I was always known to be one of the quieter kids, but anything sports related I was doing. Just being outside all day.
What about siblings, or are you an only child?
I have a younger brother.
Okay.
One younger brother.
Is he going to be a baseball player too, or is he?
He's not. He's not. But he's probably the most athletic out of me and him. He played baseball through high school. Did a whole bunch of other stuff, but he's a sophomore at Clemson though, just as a student.
Just as a student.
Just as a student.
Well, before you got to Clemson, just as a kid, you're playing Little League Baseball. Obviously, just to get to WAAY, you got to be a pretty good baseball player. So at what point did you realize you had something a little different from everyone else?
For me, it was a lot later. I wanted to be a shortstop. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a position player. I wanted to play the infield. I always loved playing shortstop. I didn't really start pitching until I was a sophomore. So it was kind of really about that. And my pitching coach in high school was like, you need to pitch. Like, I think you'll be able to do what you want to do with pitching. Not so much I wasn't a very good hitter, but I did love to play defense, love to play shortstop.
We talked about your playing shortstop. When did you start to realize that, hey, it's going to be pitching or nothing else for me?
This is my sophomore year of high school. Playing summer ball. It's just hitting wasn't my thing. Mm-hmm. And then I started pitching, kind of starting to figure that out a little bit better, and I really enjoyed pitching after that. So it's probably about my sophomore year.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, but where do you get your athleticism from, mom or dad?
I'd probably say dad.
Okay.
I would think it's my dad. I got the height gene from my dad. My brother did not. But he was definitely the most athletic out of all of us.
Okay.
He could do anything.
What did your parents do just for a living?
My grandfather on my mom's side owned car dealerships.
Okay.
So my dad was the general manager of a car dealership in Myrtle Beach.
All right.
They ended up selling that when I was in college. And now my mom kind of went in and out. She ran an insurance firm out of the dealership, and then she went back she was a teacher before that. She's teaching now, 3-year-olds.
So as you were developing as a pitcher just in high school, who was helping you along the way? Was it mom and dad? Were there some coaches? Who really mentored you and helped refine your game so you could play at a higher level?
Yeah, I had a couple of pitching coaches. Definitely my parents. My parents were big into it. They loved it. They loved going to tournaments, driving around. I had a pitching coach that I ended up finding in Myrtle Beach. His name's Mike Williams, who really helped me out. And then I had a pitching coach in high school named Billy Sylvester. I actually played for the Braves.
Okay.
That helped me out a lot.
As you're getting toward the end of high school, you're hearing from colleges. Obviously, you wound up going to Clemson, but who else were you hearing from? Was Clemson really the only big school you were hearing from? Who else was interested in you?
It's a funny story. I actually grew up a South Carolina fan.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather played football at South Carolina, so I grew up a South Carolina fan. I still have the DVDs of the 2010-2011 College World Series from that South Carolina won. But recruiting was an interesting process for me. I was pretty late, so I didn't have a whole lot of, I guess, options. It was really between Clemson and Coastal. Really liked Coastal. The day I was supposed to commit to Coastal, supposed to call Gary Gilmore that day, Monty Lee from Clemson called me, and I kind of knew that's where I wanted to be. So it was between Clemson and Coastal.
So putting you on the spot a little bit again, was it because Clemson is a Power 4, or what was it about Clemson that gave them the edge over Coastal?
It was really just kind of the whole campus in general. I had visited Clemson a couple times. I went to a couple camps, and after I went to a camp, I think my freshman year of high school, I kind of fell in love with the place. I knew, that was kind of where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And getting a little away from home was another thing. But really just everything about Clemson, the people in Clemson, the facilities in Clemson, the campus, really just started falling in love with it.
And, of course, that was a time when the football team was really good under Dabo Swinney. Did that sway at all? I mean, just being around that type of atmosphere on Saturday? Not
really. I didn't really, think of that in the recruiting process, but it was very fun to be there. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of missed the 2018-2020, but still after that, it was still fun to be around, meeting a lot of those guys, a lot of good guys. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, Clemson's always been a great sports school. Their baseball, and therefore people, when they talk about great college baseball programs, you think of LSU, you think of Miami, Texas, I suppose, South Carolina. Clemson has always been really good. They've just never quite been able to get over the top. So with that being said, was there also kind of this idea that you can build something new at Clemson, whereas at Coastal, they've got a College World Series already?
Right. I mean, that was not much of it. I kind of wanted to go to a place where, I felt like I could develop a little bit. And, Coastal's been great at that. They have had one of the best pitching departments in college baseball for the past couple of years. But really just falling in love with campus was a big thing. And then, Monty Lee, all those guys that recruited me there, that was big for me as well.
So at Clemson, what was probably the biggest adjustment you had to make from high school ball in order to succeed at the ACC level? A little bit of everything, right?
Yeah, it was a tough adjustment. I remember school freshman year was the toughest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a rough fall school-wise. I think it was a lot of focus on baseball and not enough on school. Mm-hmm. And then I started to get it together my spring year. I think that first semester is really good, especially just getting in the habit of, getting to school, getting to class.
Right.
And then baseball. Mm-hmm. It was definitely an adjustment.
Were you there for COVID?
I was not.
Okay, so you just missed that.
Yep.
Well, at Clemson, just give me some of your favorite memories of being there, because I know you guys were always in the postseason. Just some of your favorite memories of being a Tiger.
Everything. I mean, I loved it there. I've made a ton of relationships there. Everything. winning a regional my junior year was a lot of fun. My sophomore year, we won the ACC tournament. That was a lot of fun as well. There's just so many memories that I'm going to cherish forever being there.
Now that you've been at AA, where would you compare AA baseball to the Power Four? I mean, I'm sure AA is a step higher, but just in comparison to everywhere else in the minors, what would you put it on par with?
I mean, I think it's up there with the SECs, ACCs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough league. It's tough. I think it's a little higher up than those, but it's up there with the top college programs for sure.
What was probably the toughest place to play outside of Clemson?
Outside of Clemson, toughest place to play. I never got to pitch in South Carolina. I really wish I would have.
Yeah.
I remember my freshman year, Friday night we played them in Founders, and it was rowdy. It's a tough place to play. Toughest place to play. I'm a little biased just because of the cold. I hated Pittsburgh. I hated playing in Pittsburgh. I didn't love playing in Notre Dame, just because of the weather, and both of those places it snowed when we went, and it was just not my thing.
And it's not easy given the fact that the ACC is so eastern seaboard now. It is Pittsburgh, and it is Boston. It used to be a southeastern league, and now you go everywhere, and you may be in 80-degree temperature one week and then below freezing the next.
Especially with those California teams in there now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you get a chance to go out to Stanford or Cal?
I did not. That was they realigned the year I left.
Okay. So as you were getting to the end of your college career, obviously now you're hearing from professional teams and scouts. Had you heard from the Angels? Who else was talking to you? What was that process like?
I had not heard from the Angels. I had met the area scout for the Angels.
Okay.
I never really met with him, but we had talked a couple times. I had a couple meetings with the Pirates, and those. I had a good connection with the Mets. I played underneath the Mets area scout in high school, so I'd known him. We had a conversation, but the scouting was, a cool opportunity, a cool experience to kind of meet with teams and see what they're asking and all that other stuff. But no, not a ton of talks with the Angels, but I had met with them once.
Yeah. What was your expectation entering the draft? Did you know kind of what round you were going to go in? I mean, what were your thoughts about that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I remember draft day, I was helping my brother with some homework. I don't remember what it was, but it was something with like enrolling in classes or something.
Huh. And
then I got a phone call, and so it was a very surreal experience. But no, I really didn't have. I didn't have much of a, like a set where I'm going when type of thing.
It's so funny when I talk to you guys, you and your teammates. It's always like they have to be doing something during draft day just to stay busy and not think about it so much. Was that part of the deal? Why you were helping your brother?
Yeah, a little bit. Definitely. I just remember sitting on the couch and it's because it can be overwhelming a little bit. So doing something to pass the time definitely helps. Mm-hmm. Definitely helps.
So you move into the Angels organization now. What was the biggest adjustment after going through what you did in Clemson? What was the biggest adjustment now going from college ball to the pro ranks, especially when maybe at the lower levels of A ball and maybe certainly the complex league, you might not be facing the same competition as you did in college?
Right. I think it was more of just kind of getting on a set routine, kind of on your own. Because I know in college, I had a set routine of, someone was telling me what I had to do that day. So I think it was big to, get in there, figure out what works kind of on your own, meet with guys, pick people's brains. It's a lot more kind of on you than college is.
Yeah. How hard has it been? And I hear this a lot from pitchers, especially starters. You're pitching one day a week. You're the Friday starter, the Saturday starter. You go now into professional baseball, you're going once every 5 days. You might have to go twice in 1 week, twice in a series. How hard has that been, or has it been hard?
I think it was an adjustment, especially the first couple of weeks of, Last year. Last year was an adjustment. But, over time you kind of develop a routine of what you like, what makes your body feel best. And, After a couple weeks, couple starts, you kind of get used to that routine, and you just keep following along with it.
Tell me about your pitching repertoire. Do you feel like you want to add another pitch or two? Do you like what you throw right now? And do you feel that it's coming along in terms of its depth and being able to keep hitters off balance?
I kind of like where we're at right now. I added a cutter this offseason, which I think has helped early in counts. I didn't really throw a changeup in college, and that was a big thing when I got here. I started throwing one last year, didn't love it, didn't love the way it was, but I feel like this offseason we kind of got to work on it, and it's throwing it a lot now. And then we're kind of still messing with sliders, still trying to figure out, what I really want with a slider. But I think the repertoire is in a good spot.
Is there a pitcher who you sort of compare your game to that you really mesh with in terms of, hey, I really like what this guy's doing, I want to do the same thing?
I really like what Tyler Glasnow does.
Okay.
So I've watched a lot of his film, and we have kind of similar, pitches. So I really like the way he pitches, and kind of started digging deeper into that.
As you've climbed through the Angels system, have you had a chance to pick the brains of maybe some of the major league guys and talk to them and ask them, hey, how they got to where they are right now, or have you not reached that spot yet?
I got the opportunity to be in big league camp the past 2 years, and last year I remember talking to Kyle Hendricks a little bit. So I talked to him a lot and picked his brain a good bit, and we have a guy in my draft class that understands pitching a lot, and that was Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
I've talked to Ryan Johnson a lot, got to play with him last year, and he's kind of helped me understand the game a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm. Coming to WAAY, what's it been like in comparison to where you were last year?
It's been an adjustment. I think the hitters are definitely a little bit better up here. It's definitely been an adjustment for sure.
Well, that opening night, you got off to a good start. You struggled a little bit in the fourth inning, but what was it like just being in 6,000 people and being the opening day starter and having that honor? What was just that feeling knowing that you were going to get the ball day one?
It was awesome. It was awesome. That's kind of what you dream of. And, I was very blessed to be able to, get the opportunity to start opening day. I wish it would have went a little bit differently, but, there's nothing you can do about that. Just build off of it. But I thought it was a good start. I thought it was a good place to, start the season off and build from there.
Yeah. Well, after that first game, you really settled down. You had a couple of nice outings against Birmingham and Knoxville, and then you had to face Biloxi two more times back to back. Do they just have your number?
I don't know what it is. It's a good. They got a good lineup.
Yeah.
And they hit mistakes, and unfortunately we made a fair share of mistakes the past two outings. But it's just something we got to keep building on. It's a little bit of a command thing, trying to, I got to stay out of the middle a little bit, a little bit better. That's what we're going to work on.
Well, I would say that you guys have probably faced arguably the top two prospects in the Southern League. One is Jesus Madej, and the other would be Braden Montgomery. Between those two, who would you take if you were a Major League GM?
That's tough. Personally, I think I would take Braden Montgomery, just for the experience. I know Jesus Madej is going to be very good.
Yes,
he is very good. He's also 18, which is pretty incredible. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
That's a really tough question. But I think I'd probably take Braden Montgomery.
Yeah. Who was tougher on you think? And I know you had to face Madej more.
I think Braden Montgomery was tougher on me.
Okay.
I think he hit a triple off me when we played Birmingham, but I don't think I've given Madej really a chance to do anything yet. But he was tougher on me for sure.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. But before I let you go, this is always the big question that I ask guys because it helps me understand them a little more. Obviously, there's going to come a time where your playing career will come to an end and you'll have to do something else in life. Hopefully that's not for another 20 years.
Right.
But when you do hang it up, what do you see yourself doing?
I really don't know. I've always seen myself maybe in a coaching role.
Okay.
Helping. I just want to help guys out, help guys get to where they want to be, help guys get to the big leagues. So, I mean, I could see myself in a coaching role for sure.
That again was starting right-hander Austin Gordon. Thank you again for joining us on the Josh Caray Show.